Hi everyone, my name is Parag, and this is episode 2 of How to Make a Life, where we talk to people who've built a life doing what they love. On this episode, we have Zain Siddiqui. He is the co founder of Wicked Broz, which is an artist collective with a focus on street art, and they are looking at injecting art into everything that they see around them. Zain, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Parag, for getting in touch with me. And it's a privilege to be on this show with you and look forward to it.
Awesome. Now, to the average person, when we think about graffiti or street art, we're imagining people in hoodies tagging walls under cover of night and being chased by cops, right? Now, that's the average perception. But how much of this is true in India? What is the scene really like? And talk to me about how it is moving from an anti-establishment and underground endeavor to a more mainstream scene.
Okay, because so I'd like just to break this down into a couple of answers. First is that really the average perception of the person to think that people are in hoodies and running from cops, or is it just your perception?
Okay. So when I look at possibly my perception, because when I look at
Yeah.
a tagged wall, I don't know if that's legal. I don't have a problem with it either.
Uh,
I love the art.
uh,
I don't know if that's legal. I don't know if these guys did it when nobody was looking. Either way, I admire it. It's beautiful, and for an average person like me, who isn't really immersed in the art world, I don't know how this stuff works, right? So maybe
you you seem to be more you seem to be more informed than the average person, to be honest, because the fact that you know what graffiti is and the fact that you know what a tag is means that you've read up a little bit about it. The reality is that the average Indian does not know that graffiti exists in India. The average Indian does not know what a tag is. So that's first of all the reality. The second thing is, yes, uh, you're pretty much spot on when you say what a graffiti artist looks like. He's wearing a hoodie or has long hair, or probably is like dressed up in these cool casuals as a hip hop head, and runs around with spray cans in the night and uh, tags walls, does his pieces. So that's what it is. That's what the culture of graffiti is. It started with the Western countries, specifically, let's say New York, where Taki 153. This was the name of the writer who was very famous early back in the 70s.
okay.
Um, so all these young kids would go around running, and it comes from this whole perception that like we are a repressed people, and as a youngster you want to represent yourself, you want to kind of showcase that you exist. That's the whole. Now whether you do it through graffiti or through music or through rap or beatboxing or b-boying, these
Right.
are all different forms of hip hop,
Right.
breaking. So yeah, graffiti kind of fits in that perspective. Coming to your second question, which is what was the second question? It was about
Yeah.
that getting mainstreamed, right?
Yes, going from underground to mainstream. Where
Yeah.
on the
So
journey are we in India?
right now we are actually, it's an interesting thing with India right now, like, because I see it from both the perspectives, right? I see it from having been there, done a little bit of tagging myself, although I teach digital marketing. People wouldn't associate me with this,
Okay.
but I've been to the cops and they've been to my hotel room, and that whole
Right.
scene has happened. But I've also seen the other side of the scene where we are dealing with government officials. The collector of the city is calling us and
Right.
asking us to paint streets. So in that perspective, India has actually skipped one entire big step, the step of accepting graffiti as such, because honestly people just don't accept graffiti even now, and I don't see them accept graffiti as such.
Okay.
And there's no reason for people to actually accept it also, because I mean, although I do support graffiti artists and I come very close in touch with them always, that hanging out with them, but it is vandalism and we need to accept it as it is, and they don't
Okay.
shy away from that.
Fair enough.
So so it wouldn't probably get accepted. So in the West, what happened was, the governments, they are seeing this graffiti happen, and then it has evolved to street art now over decades. Here what has happened is, art was already a very evolved culture. Indian civilization comes from
Right.
10,000 old origins. So art was already evolved. We had Gond art, we had Varli art, we had now Rajasthani miniature and Pichwai paintings and so on and so forth. So for us to paint on the wall was not a new thing in the Indian culture as such. And now for the government to adopt street art, they've directly gone to these older Indian traditions. Like for example, we did this project with HCL Foundation here in Noida, and they wanted us to paint Gond art, which is a traditional
Okay.
Indian art.
Right.
So for them, this whole perception of graffiti as such doesn't really exist, and they don't want to know about it either. They're going directly to the street art, to the mainstream. And if you see what is happening through Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, government has allocated to all the smart cities, 100 smart cities. They've been allocated a budget for beautification based on their Swachh Sarvekshan ranking as such.
Okay.
So the city and state governments are taking initiative under that, and they are actively trying to beautify the walls. And for that purpose, yes, the graffiti artists, because they specialize on walls,
Okay.
like us, let's say the Wicked Bros, we ended up being one of the front runners in getting some of these works done.
Right.
But honestly, anyone and everyone, right from a sign painter to an evolved fine artist, is now involved in this street art scene with the governments across India.
Okay. So I want to talk about the government involvement a little later, but I want to talk about the artists right now, right? Now, art is unlike any other tangible product that we consume. And you've talked about on your blog as well, the value of art is intangible, even as the piece itself is tangible. How
Yes.
then would a new artist go about pricing their art now that it's come onto the mainstream? And leaving aside demand for the brand that you've probably already built with your persona or whatever other platform you've had before.
No, see, art, as I said, is the value of art is intangible. Art itself is a tangible thing in terms of a canvas or a sculpture or something
Right.
that you paint or probably make also. So, as you just said, the branding of that artist and also his art piece carries the weight of the pricing. That's
Okay.
kind of the lump sum game. If you start pricing it in terms of how much square feet have we done, or square meter or square inch, like when you
Right.
do canvases, it's a square inch. The value will be like very it will not be justified, then you are
Right.
competing with wallpapers and posters in that
Right.
case. And that happens, like when we get these calls for various street art, 90% of the cases, and I keep telling everyone this, people, 95% of the cases, people don't care who you are. They
Okay.
don't care.
All right.
They call you because they just saw your number on Google or on Facebook or Instagram, and they just get excited कि अरे मेरे को भी graffiti करवाने का है. When they say
Right.
graffiti, they don't realize it's not tags. It's actually
Okay.
some portrait or some anything on the wall.
Right.
They call it as graffiti. So
Okay.
they don't care who you are as an artist. They'll compare your pricing with somebody else's, and they'll probably go with somebody else if they are priced lower. That's
Right.
what it is. Um,
So
so
it
yeah,
can get very
hmm.
competitive then for a
it is
new
it
artist
is
to come
very
in.
competitive.
Okay.
Absolutely. I mean, because it's such a low bar, no?
Right.
Anyone can pick up a paint and start. So
Okay.
it's a bit like digital marketing these days. IT
Okay.
is digital marketing also. So
Right.
there also anyone can get up and say, I'm a content writer, I'm a designer.
Right.
How are you going to qualify that?
Got it.